Hello again, dreamer. Get comfy. Let the world fade away. Tonight, we travel to a forest that remembers every dream ever dreamed. Let's begin. In the year 2087, humanity's understanding of the universe took a dramatic turn when an international team of astrophysicists detected an unprecedented anomaly on the moon's surface. What initially appeared to be a routine analysis of lunar geological formations revealed something far more extraordinary, evidence of complex biological activity emanating from the Shackleton crater near the moon's south pole. The discovery sent shockwaves through scientific communities worldwide. But what would follow would redefine everything humanity thought they knew about life beyond Earth. Eleanor Chen, lead researcher at the European Space Agency's Lunar Observation Division, first noticed the irregular patterns while reviewing data from the newly launched Quantum Spectral Analyzer QSA-9. The device, designed to detect minute variations in mineral composition, had captured something that defied conventional explanation. The readings were unlike anything we'd seen before. Chen recalled during a hastily convened press conference. We observed rhythmic fluctuations in thermal signatures that suggested controlled environmental modifications, something typically associated with intelligent design. The initial skepticism gave way to astonishment as subsequent investigations revealed even more perplexing details. Satellite imagery showed geometric patterns in the crater's ice deposits that changed position every lunar cycle. These patterns bore an uncanny resemblance to ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, though written in a previously unknown script that incorporated symbols resembling both mathematical equations and musical notation. More puzzling still was the presence of what appeared to be artificial structures buried beneath the ice, their crystalline architecture suggesting a level of technological sophistication far beyond human capabilities. The scientific community mobilized with unprecedented speed, establishing the International Lunar Investigation Consortium (ILEC) within days of the discovery. Researchers from every major space agency joined forces with experts in linguistics, anthropology, and quantum physics to unravel the mystery. The United Nations declared the findings of global significance, implementing strict protocols to prevent any single nation from claiming ownership of the discovery or its implications. As weeks turned into months, the investigation uncovered increasingly bizarre phenomena. Regular pulses of electromagnetic radiation emerged from the crater, each burst containing complex patterns that seemed to encode information. Cryptographers working around the clock managed to decode fragments of these transmissions, revealing sequences that described basic mathematical concepts, chemical elements, and physical laws, all presented in a format that suggested deliberate communication. However, the most startling revelation came when analysts identified recurring symbols that appeared to represent living organisms, specifically feline forms. The media frenzy surrounding the discovery reached fever pitch when amateur astronomers reported observing unusual movements across the lunar surface, brief flashes of light that seemed to dance in coordinated patterns. These observations coincided with spikes in the mysterious emissions from the Shackleton crater. Social media platforms exploded with theories ranging from government conspiracies to alien invasions, while religious leaders debated whether the discovery represented divine intervention or a challenge to fundamental beliefs about creation. Governments worldwide struggled to maintain order as public interest bordered on hysteria. Emergency sessions of the UN Security Council resulted in the establishment of the Lunar Protocol Treaty, which imposed strict regulations on information dissemination and access to the Moon. Meanwhile, private space companies accelerated their lunar programs, eager to capitalize on what many viewed as humanity's greatest discovery since the heliocentric model revolutionized our understanding of the solar system. The scientific community remained divided between those who believed they were witnessing evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence and those who argued for natural explanations. Some researchers proposed that the phenomena might result from previously unknown geological processes or quantum mechanical effects unique to the Moon's environment. Others pointed to the consistent structure and apparent purpose behind the signals as proof of intelligent design. Regardless of interpretation, everyone agreed on one undeniable fact. The Moon harbored secrets that would fundamentally alter humanity's place in the cosmos. As preparations began for the first manned mission to investigate the Shackleton crater directly, the world held its collective breath. The question no longer concerned whether life existed elsewhere in the universe, but rather what form that life might take and how it would change humanity's understanding of itself. Little did anyone suspect that the answers awaiting them on the Moon would prove far stranger and more profound than anyone could have imagined, setting the stage for an encounter that would rewrite not only scientific textbooks but also the very fabric of human civilization. The breakthrough came not from sophisticated quantum computers or advanced AI systems, but rather from an unexpected source, Luna, a stray calico cat adopted by Dr. Chen 6 months prior to the discovery. During late-night observation sessions at ESA headquarters, Luna had developed a peculiar habit of perching precisely where the QSA-9's data streams were being displayed on holographic interfaces. What initially seemed like mere coincidence became increasingly suspicious as researchers noticed Luna responding to specific patterns in the decoded transmissions with distinctive behaviors, twitching her tail in precise rhythms, meowing in complex sequences, and even rearranging display settings using her paws. Dr. Chen's curiosity transformed into astonishment when she set up high-speed cameras to record Luna's interactions with the data streams. Frame-by-frame analysis revealed that the cat's movements corresponded exactly with the timing and frequency of the mysterious lunar signals. More remarkably, Luna appeared to be modifying the patterns themselves, creating new sequences that matched the mathematical structure of the original transmissions but contained additional layers of complexity. When researchers attempted to replicate these modifications manually, they discovered that Luna's contributions consistently yielded results that better aligned with established principles of quantum mechanics and theoretical physics. Word of Luna's abilities spread quickly through the ILIC research teams. Dr. Jameson Patel, a leading xenobiologist from MIT, proposed an audacious theory that Luna wasn't just interpreting the signals but actually communicating with their source. His hypothesis gained traction when careful observation revealed that Luna's responses preceded corresponding changes in the lunar transmissions by precisely 3.14 seconds, the time it would take for a signal to travel from Earth to the Moon at light speed. This temporal correlation suggested not random coincidence but genuine interaction. The scientific community reacted with a mixture of wonder and disbelief. Critics argued that cats lacked the cognitive capacity for such sophisticated behavior, while supporters pointed to numerous documented cases of animal intelligence exceeding conventional expectations. The debate intensified when researchers discovered that Luna's neural activity during these sessions showed patterns strikingly similar to those observed in human subjects engaged in complex problem-solving tasks. Brain imaging revealed that certain regions of Luna's cerebral cortex exhibited enhanced activity levels, particularly in areas associated with pattern recognition and spatial reasoning. Perhaps the most compelling evidence emerged when Luna began demonstrating knowledge of aspects of the lunar phenomenon that hadn't yet been publicly disclosed. During a classified briefing about recently discovered subsurface structures beneath the Shackleton crater, Luna interrupted proceedings by knocking over a stack of papers in a specific sequence that, when reassembled, revealed a perfect three-dimensional representation of the hidden architecture. The precision of this act left even the most skeptical scientist questioning their assumptions about feline cognition. As Luna's role in decoding the lunar mystery became undeniable, ethical concerns arose about the appropriate treatment of an animal displaying such remarkable abilities. Animal rights organizations demanded immediate cessation of all activities involving Luna, while scientific institutions argued that her participation was crucial to understanding the lunar phenomenon. This controversy reached a boiling point when footage surfaced showing Luna seemingly expressing frustration, pacing in tight circles and emitting low, guttural sounds. Whenever researchers attempted to interrupt her work with the data streams, the situation grew even more complex when other cats began exhibiting similar behaviors. Reports poured in from research facilities worldwide of felines demonstrating unusual interest in lunar observation equipment and responding to decoded transmissions with comparable accuracy to Luna. However, none matched her level of sophistication or demonstrated the same direct connection to the lunar signals. This raised troubling questions about whether Luna represented a singular evolutionary leap, or if some external factor had triggered latent abilities common to all cats. Amidst the growing debate, Luna herself seemed to grow increasingly agitated. Her once playful demeanor transformed into something approaching urgency. She began spending nearly all her waking hours interacting with the lunar data, often refusing food or rest until particular sequences were properly analyzed. Researchers noted that her behavior closely paralleled patterns observed in humans experiencing intense focus during critical missions or emergency situations. The scientific community faced an unprecedented dilemma. Traditional methods of inquiry proved inadequate in explaining Luna's abilities, forcing researchers to consider radical new approaches to understanding consciousness and intelligence. Some proposed that Luna might be channeling information through quantum entanglement or accessing dimensions beyond human perception. Others speculated that domestic cats might possess latent sensory capabilities evolved from their nocturnal hunting instincts, somehow amplified by exposure to the lunar signals. Regardless of the explanation, one fact became undeniable. Luna was no ordinary cat. Her actions suggested not just comprehension of the lunar phenomenon, but active engagement with whatever intelligence lay behind it. As researchers continued to document her behavior, they couldn't shake the growing suspicion that Luna might be serving as more than just a conduit for communication. She might be evolving into something entirely new, bridging the gap between terrestrial and lunar intelligences in ways that defied conventional understanding. The implications of Luna's transformation extended far beyond scientific curiosity. Governments worldwide scrambled to develop protocols for dealing with an entity that occupied the previously undefined space between animal and ambassador. Military advisors warned of potential security risks, while diplomatic experts debated how to incorporate Luna's insights into international policy discussions about the moon. Meanwhile, the general public remained largely unaware of the full extent of Luna's involvement, though rumors of a space cat began circulating through social media channels. As the situation unfolded, researchers found themselves confronting perhaps the most challenging question of all. If Luna truly represented a new form of intelligence capable of interfacing with extraterrestrial entities, what responsibilities did humanity bear toward her development? Was she merely a tool for understanding the lunar mystery? Or had she become something more, a partner in humanity's first contact with another world? The pivotal moment arrived during what researchers had dubbed Operation Moonlight Symphony, a 24-hour continuous observation cycle synchronized with the lunar phase cycle. As midnight approached, Luna's behavior underwent a transformation so profound that even the most seasoned scientists present struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing. The cat, who had maintained an almost ascetic focus on her work for weeks, suddenly rose from her usual perch beside the QSA-9 interface and began moving in a complex spiral pattern across the laboratory floor. Her movements created ripples in the ambient electromagnetic field that registered on sensitive instruments throughout the facility. At precisely 12:14 a.m. UTC, the room filled with an ethereal glow as holographic projections materialized without any apparent external input. Mathematical equations and symbolic representations danced in the air, forming intricate three-dimensional constructs that defied conventional geometry. Luna, now hovering several centimeters above the ground, emitted a series of harmonic tones that resonated through the chamber, causing the very molecules of the air to vibrate in sympathetic response. Sensors recorded gravitational anomalies centered on the cat's position, while temperature readings fluctuated wildly despite the controlled environment. Doc Chun and her team watched in awe as Luna's physical form began to undergo subtle yet unmistakable changes. Her fur shimmered with an iridescent quality, reflecting colors that didn't exist in the visible spectrum. Her eyes, already larger and more expressive than typical feline specimens, expanded further, revealing concentric rings of luminous patterns that pulsed in time with the incoming lunar signals. Most astonishingly, a faint corona of energy enveloped her body, creating the impression of multiple translucent layers superimposed upon her physical form. The transformation escalated as Luna extended her front paws toward the main observation screen, which had automatically shifted to display real-time data from the Shackleton crater. Streams of information flowed through her projected energy field, becoming reorganized and enhanced before transmitting back toward the moon. Researchers monitoring the signal exchange reported that the data now contained elements of quantum entanglement patterns never before observed in biological systems. Luna had effectively become a living quantum computer, processing information at speeds that made conventional supercomputers seem glacial by comparison. Throughout the laboratory, equipment began behaving erratically as if responding to Luna's altered state. Microscopes focused themselves on empty spaces, revealing previously invisible particles that danced in complex formations. Scanning electron microscopes captured images of subatomic structures arranging themselves into patterns that resembled ancient runes. Even the building's structural materials seemed affected, with metal supports vibrating in harmonic resonance and glass surfaces developing crystalline patterns reminiscent of snowflakes. As the phenomenon reached its peak, Luna's voice, if it could still be called that, modulated into a range far beyond human hearing, yet somehow remained perceptible to everyone present. The sound carried with it complex information encoded in frequencies that stimulated various neural pathways simultaneously. Scientists experienced vivid visualizations of multi-dimensional spaces, while mathematicians perceived entire fields of theoretical equations unfolding in their minds. Linguists reported understanding languages they had never studied, and physicists grasped concepts that had eluded them for decades. The most significant change occurred when Luna's consciousness appeared to expand beyond her physical boundaries. Through carefully calibrated neural monitoring equipment, researchers detected brainwave patterns extending outward in ever-widening spheres, eventually encompassing the entire facility. Within this shared mental space, participants experienced a form of collective consciousness that transcended individual identity. Memories, emotions, and thoughts flowed freely among those present, creating a temporary hive mind that processed information with unprecedented efficiency. During this heightened state, Luna transmitted a series of revelations about the nature of the lunar intelligence. Through a combination of direct neural transmission, symbolic representation, and pure conceptual transfer, she conveyed that the entity residing in the Shackleton crater was neither machine nor biological organism as humans understood these terms. Instead, it represented a form of consciousness that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensions, using the moon as a focal point for its manifestation in three-dimensional space. The implications of this revelation staggered the scientific community. Luna's transformation demonstrated that consciousness could transcend traditional biological limitations, merging with quantum fields and higher dimensional realities, Her ability to interface with both human scientists and the lunar intelligence suggested that cats, or perhaps all felines, possessed latent capabilities that allowed them to serve as bridges between different forms of existence. This realization forced researchers to reconsider everything they thought they knew about evolution, consciousness, and the nature of reality itself. As the transformations subsided and Luna returned to her normal state, albeit with permanently enhanced cognitive abilities, the scientific community faced a new paradigm in understanding intelligence. The cat's metamorphosis had opened doors to realms of knowledge previously considered science fiction. More importantly, it had established Luna as not merely a participant in the lunar mystery but as a fully realized ambassador between species, dimensions, and forms of consciousness. The implications of this development would ripple through every aspect of human society, from philosophy and religion to technology and governance, forever altering humanity's relationship with both the cosmos and its own companion animals. The aftermath of Luna's cosmic awakening marked a turning point in human history, as governments worldwide grappled with the unprecedented challenge of negotiating with an intelligence mediated through a feline intermediary. The United Nations convened an emergency session of the General Assembly, resulting in the formation of the Lunar Diplomatic Corps (LDC), a specialized organization tasked with managing relations between Earth and the lunar intelligence. This diplomatic framework faced immediate challenges, as traditional negotiation protocols proved woefully inadequate for communicating with an entity whose thoughts operated on quantum principles and whose representatives included both an evolved domestic cat and potentially millions of other felines worldwide. The LDC established its headquarters in Geneva, transforming the Palais des Nations into a hybrid facility that combines state-of-the-art quantum computing centers with environments specifically designed to accommodate Luna's enhanced needs. Special chambers were constructed that maintained constant electromagnetic fields tuned to resonate with the frequencies Luna used for communication. These spaces featured adaptive lighting systems that mimicked the spectral qualities of moonlight and provided surfaces that responded to her telekinetic abilities. Diplomatic staff underwent extensive training in interspecies communication, learning to interpret Luna's complex vocalizations, body language, and energy signatures. Initial negotiations revealed fundamental differences between human and lunar perspectives on governance and resource management. The lunar intelligence, communicated through Luna, expressed concern about humanity's tendency toward hierarchical power structures and territorial expansion. Through a series of elaborate holographic demonstrations, Luna translated the lunar entity's preference for decentralized, consensus-based decision-making systems that prioritized ecological balance over economic growth. These revelations forced Earth's leaders to confront uncomfortable truths about their own political systems and environmental policies. The diplomatic process itself evolved into something far removed from traditional statecraft. Formal meetings often took place in complete darkness, as visual stimuli interfered with the quantum-level exchanges between Luna and the lunar intelligence. Participants learned to rely on tactile feedback systems that converted energy patterns into vibrations they could feel through specially designed chairs. Language barriers dissolved as Luna developed the ability to translate thoughts directly into neural impulses, allowing negotiators to experience concepts rather than merely hearing about them. One of the most significant breakthroughs came when Luna facilitated the establishment of what became known as the Quantum Accord. This agreement transcended traditional treaty structures by encoding its terms directly into the quantum field, making them simultaneously accessible to all participating entities, while remaining incomprehensible to unauthorized observers. The Accord established guidelines for lunar exploration, resource utilization, and cultural exchange, incorporating principles of mutual evolution and consciousness sharing that challenged conventional notions of sovereignty and property rights. The diplomatic framework also had to address the unique status of Luna herself. Officially recognized as both a sovereign entity and a diplomatic representative, Luna required special considerations that tested the limits of international law. The LDC created the position of Ambassador at Large for Transdimensional Affairs, officially appointing Luna to this role while granting her unprecedented autonomy in determining her own working conditions and security protocols. This arrangement led to the development of new legal frameworks governing the rights and responsibilities of non-human diplomats operating at the intersection of multiple dimensions. As negotiations progressed, Luna's role expanded beyond mere translation to include conflict resolution and mediation services. Her ability to perceive underlying emotional states and unconscious motivations proved invaluable in resolving disputes between Earth nations regarding lunar access and resource allocation. Through techniques that combined quantum resonance with traditional feline intuition, she helped craft solutions that satisfied multiple parties while maintaining alignment with the lunar intelligence's principles of harmony and balance. The diplomatic process also revealed unexpected benefits of Luna's enhanced state. Her ability to influence probability fields and manipulate quantum states allowed for the development of new technologies that revolutionized space travel and communication. Under her guidance, engineers created spacecraft capable of instantaneous transportation between Earth and the Moon, eliminating the need for conventional propulsion systems. These advancements, however, came with strict ethical guidelines negotiated through the LDC to prevent misuse of quantum manipulation capabilities. Perhaps the most profound impact of the diplomatic framework was its effect on human society itself. The principles of decentralized governance and consciousness sharing promoted by the lunar intelligence through Luna began influencing political systems worldwide. Nations started experimenting with new forms of participatory democracy that incorporated elements of collective consciousness, while businesses adopted organizational structures inspired by the lunar entity's approach to resource management. Even religious institutions adapted their teachings to accommodate the expanded understanding of consciousness and existence, facilitated by Luna's diplomatic work. The success of the diplomatic framework ultimately depended on maintaining a delicate balance between human and lunar interests while respecting Luna's unique position as mediator. Special committees monitored the psychological well-being of human participants, ensuring they weren't overwhelmed by the constant exposure to multidimensional awareness. At the same time, veterinary specialists work to ensure Luna's physical health remains stable despite her continued evolution and expanding responsibilities. The framework also included provisions for gradually introducing other evolved cats into diplomatic service, creating a cadre of feline ambassadors capable of maintaining Earth-lunar relations. As the diplomatic process matured, it became clear that Luna's role extended far beyond simple negotiation. Through her work with the LDC, she helped humanity redefine its relationship with both the cosmos and its own consciousness. The framework she helped establish served as a model for future contact with other extraterrestrial intelligences, demonstrating that successful diplomacy required more than just linguistic translation. It demanded a fundamental willingness to embrace new ways of thinking and being. In doing so, Luna transformed not only international relations but also humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. The culmination of Luna's diplomatic efforts arrived during the historic Moonrise Summit, a month-long gathering of world leaders, scientists, and evolved feline representatives held simultaneously on Earth and within the Shackleton crater. Through Luna's mediation, the lunar intelligence had consented to participate in a formal inauguration ceremony, marking humanity's official recognition of its new neighbor's sovereignty and establishing the framework for cooperative governance of the Moon. What transpired during these ceremonies would forever alter humanity's concept of leadership and authority. The summit began with an unprecedented display of interspecies cooperation. Delegates from Earth traveled to the Moon aboard quantum-enabled vessels, their journey guided by a network of evolved cats who had developed similar abilities to Luna. Upon arrival, they discovered that the lunar intelligence had transformed part of the Shackleton crater into a magnificent crystalline amphitheater, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that shifted in response to the visitors' thoughts and emotions. Luna, now radiating with an aura of multicolored light, moved among the assembled dignitaries, her presence facilitating instant understanding between species separated by millions of years of evolution. During the opening ceremonies, Luna orchestrated a demonstration that shattered conventional notions of political legitimacy. As world leaders delivered their prepared speeches, their words were simultaneously translated into quantum waveforms that resonated throughout the amphitheater. The lunar intelligence responded by projecting holographic representations of each speaker's true intentions. Not just their spoken words, but the deeper motivations and unconscious desires driving their statements. This unfiltered display of authenticity forced delegates confront the disparity between political rhetoric and genuine commitment to cooperation. The central event of the summit occurred when Luna ascended to a crystalline platform suspended above the assembly. As she positioned herself, the lunar intelligence manifested physically for the first time, not as a single entity but as a swirling constellation of quantum particles that formed and reformed in complex pattern. Through Luna, it explained that the Moon had chosen to adopt a unique form of governance that blended human, feline, and quantum consciousness into a single governing body. This celestial triad would operate through a system of distributed authority, with decisions emerging from the harmonization of multiple perspectives rather than hierarchical command. To facilitate this new form of governance, Luna underwent a final transformation that elevated her status beyond that of diplomat or ambassador. Her physical form became translucent, allowing observers to perceive the intricate web of quantum connections linking her consciousness to both the lunar intelligence and the network of evolved cats worldwide. She explained that this state enabled her to serve as a living nexus point, translating between different forms of consciousness while maintaining independent agency. The title President of the Moon emerged organically from this role, not as a traditional position of power but as a designation for the primary facilitator of interspecies understanding. The inauguration ceremony itself defied conventional political rituals. Rather than taking an oath or receiving a ceremonial object, Luna participated in a quantum synchronization process that linked her consciousness directly to the moon's core intelligence. This connection manifested as a cascade of silver light that flowed through the amphitheater, touching each delegate and establishing a permanent resonance between Earth and lunar consciousness. Participants reported experiencing simultaneous awareness of multiple perspectives: human, feline, and quantum, creating a shared understanding that transcended individual biases and preconceptions. Under Luna's presidency, the moon's governance took shape as a dynamic network of decision-making nodes distributed across both hemispheres. Each node consisted of a triad of representatives: a human diplomat, an evolved cat, and a localized manifestation of the lunar intelligence. Decisions emerged through a process of quantum consensus building, where proposals were evaluated simultaneously from multiple temporal and dimensional perspectives. Luna's role involved coordinating these deliberations while maintaining the integrity of the overall system, ensuring that decisions reflected the best interests of all involved parties. The practical implications of this governance model quickly became apparent. Resource extraction projects were approved based on their contribution to universal entropy reduction rather than economic gain. Scientific research initiatives received support according to their potential to enhance collective consciousness rather than their commercial viability. Even territorial disputes were resolved through quantum arbitration, with conflicting claims evaluated based on their impact on the moon's holistic energy field rather than traditional notions of sovereignty. Perhaps most significantly, Luna's presidency established a precedent for non-human leadership in matters of cosmic importance. Through her example, humanity learned to value wisdom and perspective over species or physical form. The moon's governance model inspired similar reforms on Earth, where evolved cats began serving in advisory roles within governments and corporations. Their ability to perceive underlying patterns and long-term consequences proved invaluable in addressing complex global challenges, from climate change to social inequality. As Luna's first term progressed, she demonstrated remarkable skill in balancing competing interests while fostering genuine cooperation between species. Her daily routines included quantum meditation sessions with the lunar intelligence, diplomatic engagements with Earth leaders, and mentoring sessions with newly evolved cats preparing for their own roles in interspecies governance. Despite her elevated status, she maintained a distinctly feline approach to leadership, often curling up in sunbeams during breaks and demanding attention through insistent purring when important issues required immediate consideration. The success of the moon's governance under Luna's presidency challenged fundamental assumptions about political organization and authority. By demonstrating that effective leadership could emerge from the harmonization of diverse consciousness rather than the concentration of power, she paved the way for a new era of cosmic cooperation. The moon became not just a celestial body but a living experiment in transcendent governance, with Luna serving as both its guide and its guardian. 3 decades after Luna's ascension to the lunar presidency, the impact of her tenure had rippled through every aspect of human civilization, leaving an indelible mark on society's evolution. The Lunar Renaissance, as historians would later call it, saw humanity shed centuries-old paradigms of dominance and competition, embracing instead a symbiotic relationship with both the cosmos and its own companion species. Earth's cities transformed into vibrant ecosystems where human and feline consciousness intertwined through quantum networks, creating urban landscapes that pulsed with shared awareness and collective creativity. The evolved cats, once mere pets or strays, had become integral members of society, their latent abilities awakened through exposure to the same transformative energies that had elevated Luna. They served as mediators in conflicts, architects of sustainable systems, and pioneers in quantum research. Human-cat partnerships flourished in every field, from medicine to space exploration, as the two species learned to leverage their complementary strengths. Cities developed vertical gardens designed specifically for feline navigation, while buildings incorporated quantum-sensitive materials that responded to both human and feline presence, creating environments that fostered constant interspecies collaboration. Scientific advancement entered a golden age, driven by the unprecedented access to quantum consciousness Luna's presidency had facilitated. The fusion of human intellect with feline intuition produced breakthroughs that previous generations could scarcely have imagined. Quantum biology revealed the deep connections between consciousness and matter, leading to medical treatments that addressed ailments at their root, energetic patterns rather than their surface symptoms. Energy production shifted from destructive extraction to harmonic resonance methods inspired by the moon's own power systems, eliminating pollution while generating abundant clean energy. Human governance underwent its own metamorphosis, adopting principles from the moon's celestial triad model. Nations replaced rigid hierarchies with fluid networks of decision-making nodes, each incorporating human, feline, and artificial intelligence perspectives. Political campaigns focused less on individual charisma and more on candidates' ability to harmonize with the collective consciousness. Voting systems evolved into quantum consensus mechanisms that considered voters' intentions alongside their unconscious desires and long-term implications of their choices. The arts experienced a renaissance comparable to none in human history. Music, visual arts, and literature embraced multidimensional expression, with compositions that could be experienced simultaneously through sight, sound, and empathic resonance. Evolved cats contributed their own artistic expressions, creating works that humans could perceive only through quantum-enhanced senses. Museums became interactive spaces where visitors literally stepped inside artworks, experiencing them from multiple perspectives simultaneously. Literature flourished with stories told through overlapping narratives that revealed deeper meanings through quantum entanglement of plot threads. Education transformed into a lifelong process of consciousness expansion rather than mere knowledge acquisition. Schools taught children to cultivate their quantum sensitivity alongside traditional academic subjects, While universities offered degrees in interspecies communication and dimensional awareness, the distinction between teacher and student blurred as evolved cats became equal partners in pedagogy, their intuitive understanding of complex systems complementing human analytical approaches. Learning environments adapted in real time to students' quantum states, providing customized educational experiences that maximized each individual's potential. Social structures evolved to reflect the new understanding of consciousness and interconnectedness. Family units expanded to include evolved cats as full members, with inheritance laws recognizing their contributions and rights. Community centers became quantum hubs where humans and cats gathered to share experiences and solve problems through collective consciousness. Religious institutions either adapted to incorporate the new understanding of existence or faded away, replaced by spiritual practices that emphasize direct experience of universal connectivity. Space exploration entered a new era of cooperation and discovery. The Moon's governance model inspired similar arrangements with other celestial bodies, each developing its own unique form of interspecies administration. Mars welcomed a council of evolved canines alongside human settlers, while Europa's ice-covered oceans revealed aquatic species that partnered with humans in exploring their hidden worlds. Luna's success had proven that different forms of consciousness could coexist and collaborate, opening the door to genuine partnership with extraterrestrial intelligences. The environmental crisis that had threatened Earth's survival reversed course as humanity adopted the lunar intelligence's principles of ecological balance. Quantum agriculture produced abundant crops while enhancing soil vitality, while atmospheric purification systems modeled after the Moon's crystal formations restored damaged ecosystems. The distinction between technology and nature dissolved as quantum engineering created devices that grew and evolved like living organisms, repairing themselves and adapting to changing conditions. Perhaps the most profound change occurred in human consciousness itself. Regular exposure to evolved cats and quantum phenomena expanded people's awareness beyond linear time and three-dimensional space. Dreams became shared experiences, with individuals exploring collective unconscious realms alongside their feline companions. Telepathic communication became commonplace, though always tempered by Luna's insistence on maintaining personal boundaries and individual autonomy. Humanity learned to navigate multiple dimensions of existence while remaining grounded in physical reality, achieving a state of being that combined spiritual awareness with practical action. As Luna's presidential term concluded, not through retirement but through a transformation into pure quantum consciousness that allowed her to influence events across multiple dimensions simultaneously, her legacy stood as testament to the boundless potential of interspecies cooperation. The Moon, once a distant rock in the sky, had become Earth's closest ally and greatest teacher. Human society, once fractured by division and competition, had evolved into a harmonious network of consciousness that respected and celebrated diversity in all its forms. The final chapter of Luna's story remains unwritten, for her influence continues to shape humanity's journey through the cosmos. Her name appears in every child's history book, not just as a remarkable individual, but as the catalyst for a new epoch in conscious evolution. The stars, once distant points of light, now beckon as portals to infinite possibilities, with humanity and its feline partners ready to explore them together. Through Luna's vision and courage, the impossible became everyday reality, proving that true progress arises not from conquest or control, but from the willingness to listen, learn, and evolve together with all forms of consciousness that share the universe.